Lay down and relax. I shall read to you. Before you turn away, ask yourself something quietly. Have you ever felt watched by a time you never lived in? You should. The Middle Ages left fingerprints on this world that never washed away. Hidden rooms behind clean walls, forgotten roads beneath friendly streets, and echoes still ringing where no voices remain. Tonight, I will tell you about villages that disappeared while people were still whispering inside them. Books that learned how to erase those who read them, and shadows that outlived the bodies that cast them. I was already old when this happened, and I have never forgotten. So sit with me by my fire while the world pretends it makes sense, and let me show you the places where it never did. Mystery 1. The child who remembered tombstones. In a village in Gascony was born a girl named Céline, who could read graves she had never visited. From the age of 3, she recited names from neighboring cemeteries without ever leaving her home. She named soldiers long buried, wives forgotten, infants unlabeled. No one told you these, her mother begged. Céline only shook her head and said, "They told me." At 7, she guided a priest to an unmarked grave beneath a tree and wept when the body was unearthed. A man missing 30 years. By 9, she refused to go outside after dusk. "They walk then," she said simply. At 14, she died in her sleep. Her gravestone bore only her name. But for centuries afterward, villagers claimed a young girl walked among the grave rows, whispering prayers nobody remembered writing. And when storms rolled in, her voice carried through the rain like a litany no living lips were meant to speak. I once curled near that graveyard at night and counted. Mystery 2. The painting that kept aging. In a merchant's home in medieval Bruges, once hung a painting of a young noblewoman. At first, it was admired for its detail, her red lips, pale skin, and dark hair painted softer than silk. Visitors claimed the eyes followed them no matter where they stood. Common superstition, of course. Until the canvas began to change. Years passed. The household aged. The painting did not. Then one day, it did. A guest noted faint lines at the woman's mouth. Another noticed her hair seemed duller. A candle revealed something no one expected. The woman in the portrait now looked nearly the same age as the merchant's wife. Each passing season etched new years onto painted skin. Wrinkles grew, shadows deepened beneath eyes, jawlines softened. The woman on the canvas aged, while no brush touched her. Eventually, she grew old, frail, hollow-eyed. When the merchant died, the painting depicted a woman on the brink of death. Lips cracked, eyes sunken, skin thin and grey. The morning after the painting reached its oldest form, it vanished. Not stolen, not relocated, simply gone. And the space on the wall never stopped feeling cold. Before you drift too far into dreams, little human, a small favor from an old dragon. If you've enjoyed resting here beneath my wings, consider subscribing to my horde of stories. Each new believer helps me gather more treasures and avoid ravaging cities for loot when I'm low on funds. I'm retired now, and my back makes sounds that haunt even me. Now, back to the story. Mystery 3. The mill that ground at night. In a valley along the Rhine stood an abandoned grain mill. Its wheel no longer turned, its stones no longer sang, and birds refused to roost in its rafters. But each night the villagers heard it working, grinding, rhythmic, patient. The sound carried through fog like breath through teeth. Farmers claimed sacks vanished from barns, only to reappear empty days later. Strange pale dust would coat nearby fields. Too fine to be grain, too bitter to be earth. One moonless night, a tavern keeper followed the sound. He never returned. They found only his boots beside the riverbank, filled with pale powder. Later, monks inspected the mill and scraped residue from the grindstones. It was not flour. It was bone. The mill was sealed, burned. Then drowned, and still. Once every few years, the grinding returns. Mystery 4. The town that never aged. High in the Pyrenees was a mountain village called San Valora, known to travelers only through rumor. Pilgrims who reached it told the same story. The people there looked no older than 40. Wrinkles were rare. Children stayed young too long. Graves were few. Inns never changed their signboards. Fences never rotted. Faces who welcomed travelers decades apart remained indistinguishable. A priest who visited twice in his lifetime died insisting the bread tasted exactly the same 40 years later. Eventually, the church sent investigators. They never returned. Centuries later, border surveys listed San Valora as uninhabited. Explorers found stone foundations, paths, empty homes, but no bodies. Paper remained on tables. Warmth clung to walls. The church bell hung still, uncracked, though no rope remained. San Valora had aged all at once, like fruit left too long in silence. Mystery 5. The letters that answered back. In late medieval Venice, a merchant began receiving letters written in his own hand, though he insisted he had not written them. At first they were small things. Lock your door tonight. Do not trust the man in blue. And then larger. Do not sail tomorrow. Your brother will not survive winter. The predictions came true one by one. Ink analysis showed the handwriting was undeniably his. The wax bore his seal. Untouched, the letters came faster. More desperate, they are watching. You are already late. They are inside memory now. The final letter said only, "You have become difficult to remember." And after that, no one did. His house stayed. His ledgers remained. His seal lay dusty on his desk. But when neighbors tried to speak his name, they could not. Mystery 6. The bridge that collected footsteps. Along an old trade road in Bohemia stands a narrow stone bridge locals call the Listener. It looks ordinary by daylight, mossed arch, river whispering beneath. But every midnight the stones begin to echo with the sounds of walking, not the shuffle of animals or creak of wood, but the unmistakable rhythm of boots and bare feet crossing from one side to the other. Yet no one is there. Travelers who paused long enough claimed they could hear accents in the steps, heavy mercenary strides, careful priestly pacing, even quick children's scuffs that faded in mid-step. One scholar knelt and pressed his ear to the stone and swore he heard a woman weeping beneath the rushing water, her steps stopping halfway across, as if the bridge itself had swallowed her. Inspectors later dismantled several stones. No passage, no hollow chamber, no trick of acoustics that could reproduce such distinct rhythms. The bridge continued gathering footsteps for years, after, undeterred by disbelief. I once crossed it at night. Beneath my claws, the stone stirred like skin remembering old pressure. The steps did not avoid me. They walked straight through my shadow. Some bridges carry travelers. This one remembers them. Mystery 7. The tomb that bled. Outside Toledo, there is a tomb built for a noblewoman no history names. The stone is blacker than the rest, always wet, even under sun. Villagers first believed water seeped from inside. Then it became thicker, darker, salted. On holy days, red liquid drips from the seams for hours, then stops. Centuries of scholars drilled, pried, sampled. No source discovered. Priests hold mass there still. And every generation, someone sees the stone pulse like skin. I once rested beside that tomb at dusk and heard not a heart, but a breath. The hour is growing thin now, little one, like the final edge of flame before sleep claims the wick. Mysteries soften when held long enough, and even the strangest truths grow gentle when told in. Quiet voices beside a fire, You have listened well tonight. That is a skill rarer than sight and heavier than gold. The world relaxes when humans listen instead of reach. Let your chest slow. Let your thoughts loosen their grip. Let night carry you the way deep water holds fallen stars. I will coil myself around this quiet space and keep it warm, just as I have done since your species first learned how to name shadows. No doors will open in your sleep unless you invite them. No bells will ring without your dreaming permission. Nothing will follow you through the dark unless it wears a story's face. Close your eyes. Time will be patient with you now. And when you wake, I will have gathered more wonders from the edges of memory to give you next time. Sleep gently. I am still here. Good night, humans.